Have you ever stopped to think about how an idea, just a thought in your head, actually gets onto a screen? I mean, it seems so simple now, right? But it's actually one of the biggest challenges in all of technology. So today, we're going to dive into the clever pieces of hardware that act as that bridge between our world and the digital one. We're talking about input devices.
Seriously, think about that for a second. Your brain is this incredible, messy, creative place. A computer? Well, it's all about pure logic and code. So how on earth do you translate one into the other? How do we build a bridge across that huge gap between what we want to do and what the machine can understand?
Well, that bridge is built using a very special category of hardware. These are the devices that act as our translators, turning our physical actions, like a tap, a click, or a spoken word, into digital signals. Let's get right into the definition.
The key thing to remember is that it's a one-way street. Information flows from you into the computer. It's kind of like a mail slot. You're pushing a letter, your command, through the slot, and the computer on the other side gets it. You can't get anything back through that slot, though. That's a whole other job for an output device. But hey, that's a story for another day.
You know, probably the best way to get your head around this is to think of input devices as the computer's senses. A microphone? That's its ear, capturing sound. A scanner or a camera? That's its eye, seeing and digitizing images. And the keyboard? Well, that's almost like its sense of touch, feeling every single key that you press.
All right, let's kick things off with the absolute dynamic duo of input. I'm talking about the two devices that completely change the game and how we give commands and navigate our digital world.
First up, the keyboard. This thing is a direct descendant of the old-school typewriter, and it's really the bedrock of precise symbolic input. Every single time you press a key, you're sending a specific, unmistakable command. It's the language we use to write, to code, basically to build the entire world of software.
And then its partner in crime arrived, the mouse. This little device was a revolution. It took us from just typing commands to physically interacting with a digital space. It translates the movement of your hand into that little pointer on the screen, letting us just point, click, and grab things with this incredible intuitive feel.
And here's where you can see their brilliant partnership in action. The keyboard gives us symbolic input. You press the A key, you always get an A, simple. The mouse, on the other hand, gives us spatial input. It has no idea what symbols are. It only cares about where you are on the screen. It's this beautiful combination of precise text and just fluid, natural movement that makes using a modern computer so powerful.
Okay, but what if we want to get more than just our commands into the computer? What if we want to bring in a little piece of the real world? Well, that's where our next category of devices comes into play, the capture tools.
So take the scanner. Now you might be thinking of that big, clunky thing that digitizes old photos and documents. But really, the camera on your phone is doing the exact same thing. It's literally capturing the light from the world around you and turning it into a grid of tiny pixels, creating a digital photograph.
And the microphone does the very same thing, but for sound. It takes the physical vibrations of your voice, your sound waves, and converts them into a digital signal the computer can work with. I mean, this is the tech behind everything from your voice memos to having a full-blown conversation with your smart assistant.
So when you start combining these different kinds of input, you get something that's way more than just a pile of gadgets. You get a complete system for interaction. You get the anatomy of a modern interface. This table kind of lays it all out neatly, but think about how you actually use all these in combination. You might be typing an email, that's textual input. Then you drag and drop a photo into it, that's spatial. And that photo you took with your phone, visual capture. Then you hop on a video call where you're using your microphone, that's audio. See, all four types of input just working together seamlessly. And really, that is the core idea right there. These four devices created the fundamental language that we use to communicate with our tech. Even as we invent all these new ways to interact, we're still building on the core principles that were established by this classic quartet. Of course, this is really just the beginning of the story, isn't it? We are now completely surrounded by touchscreens. We talk to our voice assistants, we use gesture controls, and with things like brain-computer interfaces actually on the horizon, the very definition of what input even is, well, it's changing fast. It really makes you wonder, what's going to be the next giant leap forward in how we talk to our machines?